How often do you reflect upon just how much your beliefs shape your life? How much they influence your decisions? What kind of people you choose to spend time with? What kind of information you choose to seek out and what kinds of experiences you choose to have? All of these things are shaped by your beliefs. And yet, how many assumptions are you, for example, making when it comes to how you treat your beliefs? This is what we are going to try and elucidate in today's video. And after you've listened to this video, you may in fact come to have a completely different view of yourself and your relationship with your reality. Hello from Sweden and welcome to Everyday Mystic. A channel where we are trying to get a deeper understanding of the human experience in relation to spiritual matters. My name is David and today we are going to talk about beliefs and how we can think more consciously about them. You see, first of all, the mind's word machines string a lot of words and images together and make them appear as if they have something to do with reality. As if they somehow are telling us an important truth. And we generally don't really reflect upon this. And the thing is that beliefs shape our reality. They shape what we choose to focus on. As I said in the beginning, what kind of information we choose to seek out. Whether we should be afraid of seeking certain knowledge and so on. You can see how there are different belief systems out there that in no uncertain terms tell us to stay away from certain ideas, from certain knowledge. And let's look a little bit at how we come to adopt certain beliefs. Because we may think that it comes from this rational, logical deliberation. But when we start to look closer at it, it can be something like you are in a vulnerable emotional state. Someone comes up to you that you have a certain confidence in, and this person tells you something. It sounds very logical from the position that you are in at the time, and then your mind starts to seek out information that confirms this belief and filters out information that might challenge it and so on. This is a very crude, simple example, but I want you to apply this to your own experiences. Start looking at the real reasons as to why you believe certain things and what made you start believing these things. Because there are a lot of just chains of cause and effect that if you look closely at it, you didn't really make conscious choices about it. And there are even other factors at play here, such as, for example, different instincts that make us look for certain things. For example, we have this instinct that we want to fit into a certain group. From very primordial times, it was very important that we got along with the group member, because if we didn't, we would basically probably get killed. And this instinct, because it's programmed into us through evolution, is still there. So there are drivers inside us that drive us to conform with certain beliefs. And there is also this selective perception. If we find it very important to hold certain beliefs, our brains will find reasons for us to continue believing these things. And as I said, they will filter out things that challenge it. So, a fundamental statement about things is that once you realize, and this is pure logic, once you realize that reality is not what it appears to be when we approach it with the five senses, at least it's vastly more than that. And if this is so, which I'm suspecting that a lot of you who are listening to my channel are actually starting to figure out for yourselves, then anything becomes possible. This is pure logic until there are other factors that are telling us something else about reality. Anything is possible. So, we convince ourselves things because we think on some level that it benefits us to do so. Now I want to talk a little bit about where I'm coming from. I know that there is a creator, that there is a God. This is not a belief anymore, this is a knowing. But I'm not asking you to just believe what I'm saying, I just want you to know where I'm coming from. But I don't really know who or what this creator is. I know that on some level we are part of this creator, but again, and I want to stress this does not mean that we should jump to all kinds of different assumptions about this. We'll stick with our own personal experiences and what can be derived from them concretely. So this is where I'm coming from. I'm not some skeptic who is sitting here being skeptical towards everyone else but not wanting to put even 2 seconds in to put my own beliefs under scrutiny. That is not where I'm coming from. So, we have this need for certainty, especially in the times that we are living in now. We are starting to wake up to so much more about our existence, about our reality and so on, and we see all the chaos and turmoil that is going on out in the world. Even those of us that are committed to wanting to not conform to certain group identities, beliefs, etc. Even those of us that are committed to this have a tendency to want to see some sort of security in what we believe. We want to feel like we know what is going on in some way. But in this video I want to tell you that it's important to actually get out of this impulse. To realize that we have to be able to live with a certain uncertainty. Because the world is so complex and we are not as rational and logical as we might want to appear to be. And that we want to convince ourselves that we are. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with the need to treat life with a certain degree of openness if we want to not be deluded into falling into very specific ideas about how things work which we don't have real sufficient reason for. So we believe because to a large degree of primordial instincts, emotions, and our brain structure shape our beliefs more than pure logic. And the brain seeks answers. Even if the brain can only really work efficiently with what is truly known. If we feed it with a bunch of unknowns, especially under pressure to conform because we think that something bad is going to happen if we don't figure things out. Our brains will still try to figure things out even if they don't have sufficient reasons for it. They will try to draw conclusions from insufficient evidence. And as I said, Beliefs guide so many things in our lives. We create identities around our beliefs. We use beliefs to make some sort of meaning out of life. And my suggestion is actually to try to clear ourselves from all of this. To try to approach reality from what is in Zen Buddhism would be called a beginner's mind. A mind that is free from all of these filters that have been placed upon us from our conditioning. And the thing is that when you look out into the world today, and it can be interesting to think about this in relation to a lot of how information is working today. And I'm going to use two very distinct examples because they are examples that I am personally very interested in. We are living in very special times today. This is also something I know. I don't know the details of where this is going, but I am 100% confident that we have reached the end of something major, and what is beyond that is, to me at least, an open question. But we have a lot of people that have very firm beliefs about where we are today. We have people that believe that they are channeling aliens from other dimensions that are here to help us to ascend to a higher state of consciousness. And we also have people that believe that we are living in the literal Christian end times, where God is going to rain fire from the sky and Jesus will come back and sentence some people to hell and some people to heaven or to live in some eternal paradise. The details are really not that important, but we have two very distinct ways of looking at what is going on in the world today. And both ways cannot be right, but there are very convinced people on either side. And what is true for both sides is that unless you have your own reasons for believing one side or the other that are truly valid, to you it's an open question. To me it's an open question. I can say for sure that I don't believe anyone is going to hell, but honestly, 100% sure I cannot be, but there can be factors that I have no clue about. But for me, the belief in hell is totally incongruent with the belief in a good, loving God. And it is incongruent with my own personal experiences of this God. So therefore, I totally discard the belief in hell, and I will not in any way allow this type of belief to guide my decisions. This is important. I'm trying to tell you something here. Because it's so easy when you see a person that sounds so convinced about what they are believing to think that, oh, this person must know what he or she is talking about. And then, depending on our personal proclivities and so on, we start looking, as I said, for confirmations of this belief while we discard other things that might contradict it. And you can see where I'm also going with this. Because depending on which belief you choose to adopt, you will make very different decisions regarding your life. If you think that your eternal existence is at stake, obviously, it will be very important not just to stay firm in certain beliefs, but also to take the appropriate actions in line with the beliefs that you're holding. Are you with me here? Look at this and look at your own experience. Because here you see a very clear example on how your beliefs drive your actions. So if you have, for example, a very fearful belief, you will be prone to take a lot less risks. You will stay away from certain types of information that might challenge the belief, or information that for one reason or another you think is off limits to you. You will not try out different practices. A lot of people, for example, would never engage in yoga or meditation or anything like that because they think that this will result in God sending them to hell. Just to take an example. On the other hand, if you believe that nothing matters, you can and that you basically there is no higher and lower or anything like that. Again with these labels. But let's go with this for the lack of better words right now. You might think that, oh, I can just go out and do exactly whatever I want. And let me tell you a little about what, and this is beliefs by the way, but I think it's relevant for the discussion here. I don't believe in some absolute good or evil. I think that they can be in some instances useful concepts unless you know a little more about the nature of reality. But I do think, and I have some experience to back it up, and I think that if you start to put some teachings out there together, you can see that either this is the most elaborate hoax ever played on humanity, and you can think a little about what kind of God would actually allow this, and think that it makes no real sense. Or you can actually start seeing some patterns here. If you, for example, look at teachings from people like David Hawkins or Eckhart Tolle or Michael Singer, you can start to see that there are certain patterns. You can see, for example, that blocked emotional energies inside of our energy field is governing a lot of our beliefs and decisions and so on, while our brains rationalize why we do this. You can see that there is something to what Nikola Tesla said, that if you want to understand the universe, think of it in terms of energy and vibration. And then you can see that certain actions, certain words, certain emotions and so on vibrate at certain frequencies, and it will attract either positive or negative circumstances into your own life and into the lives of the people that you are interacting with. And if also all is one in some sense, then you will also start to see that it makes no real sense to hurt other people, to gain something from it for yourself, because you are really just feeding the ego. These are things that I think you can start to discern. But before you start to discern this, ideas such as good and evil can actually be helpful. If you are at a quite low level of consciousness, so you might actually hurt other people if you don't have anything to stop you from it. Then it might even be good if you are really fearful of what consequences might come to you if you start to act in a negative manner, you could say. Again, I try to be specific when I speak, when I use certain words and so on, but I am not perfect at this. So bear with me a little, because I might not use the most perfect word for everything that I'm saying. But I hope I am expressing myself clearly enough for you to understand what I'm trying to convey. So, my suggestion in all of this is to open up to life a little bit, just as I said in the beginning. Instead of trying to figure everything out, experience and explore things, because there are so many things that are hidden in plain sight in our immediate experience, that I don't think that we have to have this grand picture in place all at once. We will probably get the information we need when we get it. Some people seem to know a lot more about the grander scheme of things that is happening right now than I do. My focus is always being directed at our present moment experience and what can be said about it. And the more I'm starting to uncover about this, the more exciting it gets, because, as I said, so much is hidden in plain sight. And what will happen during this journey? Again, this is not beliefs. I'm not telling you to believe in anything, but you will start to have more and more experiences of higher states of consciousness as you go along. You will be guided through this journey. You don't have to figure everything out right now, and the more you can be comfortable with things not being that certain, the easier it will actually be to start putting the pieces together, because you will also start to more and more let go of all of these needs on the inside, all of this resistance, all of this forceful attitude towards life not being what you want it to be, and so on. And you can instead start more and more to lean into the present moment. And here the answers will come to you eventually. But you have to get rid of all of these filters and try to approach reality and try to approach your life with as much of a clear consciousness as possible, instead of having all of these ideas and beliefs that are pulling you in all kinds of directions and make them seem like they are so important when they really probably are not, because then reality would not be working the way that it is working. And the first thing to do is to observe yourself. Observe how the mind tries to cling to certainty. Observe how the mind tries to spin all of these little stories, tries to make all of these assumptions about how reality works, where we are going, what people are thinking, what people's intentions are. If you, for example, look at some people on the internet, you can see that there are people that claim bad intentions when it comes to a lot of other individuals, where they most definitely cannot know for sure. Sure, some people may have access to higher states of consciousness where they actually get accurate information that I currently am not privy to. Or there might be people that are, on the other hand, guided by the Holy Spirit in a way that I am not either. I don't know. But neither do you, and that is the point. Don't get fooled into believing things that you don't have sufficient reasons for. Reality right here and right now, and what is gradually being opened up to you right here in the present moment, is so much more magnificent than you can ever imagine. And I know that life is hard. I know that reality, life, whatever, does not always seem that magical when you are caught up in your little everyday struggles. But this, in some way or another, will change, because things are changing. But the change begins on the inside. The change begins with your relationship with your infinite creator, however you want to define this, and your relationship with yourself and other people and with reality. And this is something that you will start to find out for yourself, but don't take my word for it. The point of this video is not about giving you some new beliefs, but about making you reflect on the beliefs that you are currently holding, and the importance that you are attaching to these beliefs, and how these beliefs shape your life, and what reasons you really have for believing the things that you do. I cannot tell you these things, because you have to look at yourself and your own life to figure these things out. And when you do, when you observe all of these things going on inside of your head with these little word machines that we identify with and that we attach so much importance to what they are saying, when you start to take a step back and start to actually get a grasp of all of these things, come back to this question: what do I truly know? And we are going to stop there. So that's it for today. If you like the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and share the video on social media and other places. And if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel. Check out the description and the comment section for other things that me and my wife are doing. Especially check out our other channel, Internet Mystic Database, where we have much more instructional content, you could say. And other than that, just sincerely thank you for your time.